Maggie, and this is my midterm outline. So the artwork I chose was The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, and he painted this from 1494 to 1498 using tempera and oil paints. And this can be seen in the Basilica di Santa Maria del Grazie Museum. The subject matter in this artwork, I see Jesus and his 12 disciples eating the Passover meal the night before his crucifixion. The painting depicts the bread and wine that represents his sacrifice, the upper room where they enjoyed their meal, and the disciples discussing who will be the one to betray Jesus. In the foreground, we can see the central figures of Jesus and his disciples, with Judas Iscariot clutching a bag of money and being more withdrawn from the other disciples. In the middle ground, we see Jesus, who is the central figure of the artwork. In the background, we can see a room with a coffered ceiling and walls adorned with dark tapestries. We also see 3 large windows depicting a natural landscape, painted with an aerial perspective to give a sense of depth. The first visual analysis portion of this is the formal elements. I chose shape and color. Jesus, for the first one, often referenced as a firm foundation, is the only geometric shape formed by the central figures. The disciples create an organic shape which represent chaos. For color, I said the background of the room is very dark, while the foreground is very bright, and this places an emphasis on Jesus and his disciples. For my second part, it was the principles of design, and I chose balance. And I said Jesus being placed in the center of the painting, as well as having an even number of disciples on each side of him, creates a balanced and aesthetically pleasing look within the painting. My initial interpretation of the painting was in The Last Supper. I believe that Leonardo da Vinci was trying to express how Jesus is our calm in the chaos. This painting depicts the night before Jesus was crucified. However, he appears to be calm. The disciples are very frantic, confused about what Jesus is going to say to them. The visual elements of this painting support this. Jesus being placed in the center and also being the only geometric shape depicts that Jesus was a constant source of peace. These, as you can see kind of at the bottom, are my 2 sources I chose. They are cited in MLA format. And the summaries of the source, the first one was the proportions of Leonardo's Last Supper. It says in the article, The Proportions of Leonardo's Last Supper by Matthew Landris explains how Leonardo da Vinci used mathematical and musical proportions to organize the composition of the Last Supper. Landris argues that Leonardo applied harmonic ratios, such as those found in music, to create visual balance and unity in the painting. The paper shows that these proportions are guided by the spacing of figures in architecture, reflecting the Renaissance ideas in harmony between the art, math, and nature. Overall, the study reveals Leonardo's deep interest in combining geometry, science, and beauty in his artwork. And the second one was Leonardo and the Last Supper, and it says the book places the Last Supper in its historical, political, and artistic context, exploring how Leonardo accepted the commission amid the unstable power dynamics of Milan and the patronage by the Sforza family. It discusses Leonardo's experimental techniques, departing from pure fresco, his concerns with light, composition, and human gesture, and how these innovations reflect broader Renaissance interests in science and symbolism. The work also shows how Leonardo's personality, reputation, and challenges influenced the creation and reception of his painting. And that is my midterm project.